thanks for coming to the Minnesota Black Robe channel. I really appreciate everybody who comes and comments and shares the videos and critiques and criticizes. It's what we're here for in the United States. This video, I want to address a strange occurrence, really. I made a friend of sorts, an acquaintance, friend, a political ally, if you will, in a man named Jeremy Munson back in April, really at the beginning of the height of the lockdowns here in Minnesota. And I've known Jeremy prior to that through media and through watching him as he functions as a representative. He's extremely committed to constitutional representation of the people that he was elected by. He is, for all intents and purposes, a perfect example of what I refer to as an elected servant. Jeremy doesn't view himself as an official. He doesn't view himself as superior to the people that elected him. He doesn't come off as condescending or arrogant. He's actually really humble. He's vocal, he's outspoken, he's stubborn, if you will. He doesn't back down. It's like a dog that once it gets a hold of something, it's not going to let go. And that's what we need in statesmen today, in our elected servants. So here's the quandary, the conundrum that I find myself in, because I want to scream right now. You see, in light of the events that took place on January 6th in Washington, D.C., we're seeing that everybody who attends a rally, everybody who speaks at a rally, everybody who is part of any kind of organization that would consider itself to be patriotic is under attack. Jeremy and others are finding themselves in a position that's really untenable in the current political climate. See, what was Jeremy's great crime, you might ask? Well, Jeremy spoke at the rally at the Minnesota State Capitol on Wednesday the 6th. He spoke at the beginning. He had other things to do. He spoke, and he left. He's being investigated, or the Minnesota House of Representatives is calling for him to be investigated. But what's he going to be investigated for? They want to investigate Jeremy for inciting people to violence, to inciting people to riot. Let that sink in. Now, how am I going to demonstrate to you that this is just asinine and ludicrous? Well, Jeremy does a really good job of it himself. Okay? But before we get to that, I want to remind everyone that there is a man who's now sitting in the Minnesota House of Representatives. I believe he's sitting for House District 67A. This man is John Thompson. He's a radical racist. He's a radical, inflammatory racist. It's true. It's undeniable. And I've done a couple of videos about John Thompson. I did one calling Keith Ellison and the governor to account for supporting a radical racist like John Thompson. I did one calling John Thompson to repent and told him that he can't be forgiven for the hatred that's in his heart just by saying he's sorry, and that there's only one way that John can be forgiven, and that's through the shed blood of Jesus Christ. But John has rejected that. And I did a video calling on the people of House District 67A to not vote him in, and no one really saw that, I'm sure, from House District 67A, but they voted John Thompson in. Now, how could I possibly say that John Thompson is a racist? And what does this have to do with my friend Jeremy Munson? What does this have to do with a man of the people, a true statesman like Jeremy Munson and others who spoke at that rally? Well, this is John Thompson, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man. Wow. Hey, I was standing over here burning up because I was telling Marquis, somebody got to tell these white people out here that there was a public hanging in Duluth, Minnesota, and there was an audience, and the audience had grandkids, and then they go over there, you know, come on back out with your Blue Lives Matter shirt, and I mean that. But let me tell you about Blue Lives Matter. All right, because they didn't come out with Blue Lives Matter until we start saying Black Lives Matter. But unlike you, white man, you can unzip that fucking costume. I can't unzip this black skin I'm in. I'm a black man being terrorized by this fucking Klansman right here. We are terrorized by the Grand Wizard. Y'all got the Grand Wizard living in your goddamn neighborhood. All the Klan exists in Hugo, Minnesota, and it's right here. Don't run now. Don't run now, racist white people. I'm here. Oh yeah, we pull up. We pull the fuck up. And we here. Come on over here with your Blue Lives Matter sign. Blue Lives ain't shit. And the people in Hugo don't support black people. Fuck Hugo, Minnesota. I meant to say that. Now we can get to what I was talking about. You're right. I won the primary election, and y'all can quote me on this. I am going to the state capitol with this same fucking message that black people are tired of being killed in these fucking streets, and y'all defending this shit. Listen when I tell y'all, the KKK ain't never left the state of Minnesota. As a matter of fact, we in Cleveland right now. They don't run y'all coward ass in the damn garage. Come on out here, racist, white, racist motherfuckers. Listen! Ain't nobody gonna sugarcoat racism. Wasn't nothing pretty about Bob Pro kicking that 15-year-old boy in his face. So why the fuck is we so peaceful in this raggedy ass neighborhood? Fuck your motherfucking peace, white, racist motherfuckers! Shouldn't have gave me the microphone. Shouldn't have gave me the fucking microphone. You coward ass why the fuck back there with a Blue Lives Matter sign? I can't unzip this goddamn black skin out here. You can take that sign and stick it in your ass. Yeah, we ain't never seen a legislator like this before.
That's what I was
saying. We coming for everything that you motherfuckers took.
Hear that?
We coming for them seats. We coming for the money.
They're coming for everything that we took from them. Who's we? Or they? Who's they he's talking about here? Who's the they, John Thompson? Do you hear this? This man got elected to office. Nobody's calling on him to be investigated. Nobody's calling on him to be expelled. But we're going to let John speak for himself. This Nazi-esque black power racist. That's what he is. He's a racist. Okay? End of discussion. He's a racist. Listen to the way he's addressing those teenage kids. Listen to the way he's yelling at everybody in that neighborhood. Listen to the violence he's inciting. And now we're coming, and we're going to get to a really good court here.
You owe us. We coming for this. Wait a minute. This whole goddamn state burned down for 20 goddamn pounds. You think we're going to fuck about burning Hugo down? Now y'all running y'all coward ass back in the garage.
We're done with John. Do you think that we give a fuck about burning Hugo down? You hear that? This is a man who's ready to do violence. Now, this is Jeremy's speech. Let's listen to the difference. And Jeremy does a great job here. Spot the difference.
And supporting our president and supporting the rule of law. And I also want to say thank you to all the state troopers that have came out here. We love our police. We love our law enforcement. Even though this is called Storm the Capitol, we are not storming this fence today. We want to get you inside as soon as possible, but please respect the police officers out here. They're doing their job. We wish that Walz would have called them out here to protect the statues from being torn down, but they are here today for our safety, and they're doing their job. Please respect them, and thank you for coming out today to support free elections, fair elections, and the rule of law.
We coming. We coming for everything that you motherfuckers took from us. We coming for them seats. We coming for the money you owe us. We coming for this. Wait a minute. This whole goddamn state burned down for 20 goddamn thousand. You think we're gonna fuck about burning Hugo down? Now y'all running your coward ass back in the crowd. And changing shirts. Blue lives don't mean shit to black people.
You guys are already out there talking about elections, but don't be afraid to talk about what fair elections mean. We go in and still elect, prop up governments overseas, and we create more fair elections overseas than we have in our country. So never stop talking about this. This is central to our democracy, to our constitutional republic.
What exactly is Jeremy being investigated for? How are you going to lay any blame on Jeremy? See, this is the political witch hunt that's going to happen now that the Marxists like John Thompson, racist Marxists like John Thompson and others, or Ilhan Omar for that matter, or Nancy Pelosi, who is a racist Marxist, or all of the massive social media outlets that are out there. This is what's going to come. If you raise your hand and say, wait a second, it just feels, like maybe we should stop and look at some of this that's going on. Radical, investigate, arrest, put them up against the wall. Put them up against the wall. They need to be punished. Cart them off to camps. And don't think that they're not talking about it, because there are people out there talking about re-education camps for anybody who supported Donald Trump or conservative agenda at all. See, this is the problem. They've got power now. The radical, leftist, Marxist, racists like John Thompson and others of his ilk, like Nancy Pelosi and others, they're all different, varying levels of racist in different ways. They have power now, and they are going to make you pay for not doing what they want, or for voting against them, or for calling others to vote against them. They're going to incite violence against people, and they've done it. We've heard Jeremy's words. We've heard John Thompson's words. Jeremy, thank you, kindly, wonderful. Let's do this. Let's have that. We'd love to have you inside the Capitol. Please respect law enforcement. We're not actually going to storm the, it's metaphorical language. Everybody recognizes that. Well, except for the people who want to investigate them, because they're insipid idiots and they don't understand what metaphor is. But nobody's calling on John Thompson to be expelled. I mean, he should be. He should be expelled. There should be no need to even investigate. You should just look at the video. Look at the video. John Thompson called for Hugo to be afraid, because they're not afraid to burn Hugo down. If they don't what? If they don't kick Bob Kroll out? What's Hugo supposed to do? Put pressure on Bob Kroll to move out? And if they don't, John Thompson and his racist supporters are going to come and burn Hugo down. So you tell me, what's Jeremy Munson supposed to do? Should he apologize? Should he say, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been part of that rally? Why? He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong at all. The two people that we just looked at, one of them is guilty and one of them is innocent. The guilty party is under no pressure in the state of Minnesota. He's been coddled and treated with kid gloves, and we've been told we have to understand the level of his anger and why he would say such things. We need to be careful in critiquing him, all while well-spoken, pointed at times, well-spoken, gracious and humble Jeremy Munson is being called on the carpet, along with several others. And for what? because they're not taking the right positions. And you don't think they're not going to come for you because you sit back and you're quiet? You think they're not going to come for you because you don't share your political views too much? See, the next step is questioning or getting people to turn you in for private conversations. And don't tell me it can't happen. It does, and it will. Are you ready to be turned in by family members? Are you ready to be turned in by your neighbor? Are you ready to be turned in by a coworker? We have to resist this civilly, peacefully, through the proper channels. But this needs to be resisted. It needs to be defeated, and it needs to die a painful, ugly death. We're never going to have a regular American country again. We're never going to get our republic back in this room. 600.